are the 7 people Voldemort killed to make his Horcruxes? Hey, brother! The process of making a Horcrux involves committing the ultimate act of evil, murder, in order to split your soul and then transfer it into an object so that if you die, a part of your soul is still safe and can anchor you to the mortal realm. Meaning that in order for Voldemort to make any of his Horcruxes, he had to kill quite a few people.
7. Merlin's beard, Tom.
Which, given the fact that he has a secret cave full of thousands of dead bodies reanimated to become Inferi who are said to kill anyone that dares touch the water, it's no surprise. But with such an insanely high kill count to his name, how did he determine which of those kills were worthy enough to become a Horcrux? Dumbledore tells Harry, he seems to have reserved the process of making Horcruxes for particularly significant deaths. You would certainly have been that. He believed that in killing you, he was destroying the danger the prophecy had outlined. He believed he was making himself invincible. Significant deaths, Dumbledore? Are you sure about that? I mean, Myrtle was one of the victims, right?
Let's all throw books at Myrtle because she can't feel it. 10 points if you get it through her stomach. 50 points if it goes through her head.
No, I'm just kidding. We'll get to Myrtle in a minute. But at least she was part of proving that Voldemort was indeed Slytherin's heir by being able to command the basilisk. Although, I actually don't think he even meant to kill her. We'll get back to that. By comparison, though, Myrtle seems like a way more significant person to have killed than some of the others who made the list. Because while we know a few of them, not all of them appear in the books, but if you do some digging, you can discover that, for example, for the diadem, he killed an Albanian peasant, and for the locket, he killed a Muggle tramp. Sorry, but 2 of these things are not like the other. They just don't feel in the same significance category as, I don't know, Harry the Chosen One Potter,
I am the chosen one.
But after years of wondering, I think we have at last solved the identity of at least one, if not both, of the randos, and they're not as random as you might. Hey, brother! The diary, the ring, the locket, the cup, diadem, Nagini, and Harry. Those are the deaths we need to account for. So let's do the sensible thing and start with the first one, the ring.
One ring to rule them all.
You guys ever notice that Sauron's soul is tied to the ring and the whole story is about destroying the ring, and then Voldemort does the same thing but then also has a bunch of other treasures? The kill for this one we were just told straight up. Voldemort kills his father, the man who abandoned Merope Gaunt and her unborn son for the crime of being magical. Or at least that's how Voldemort sees it. There was also the fact that she, magically persuaded him to fall in love with her and procreate. So, those crimes too. It's really not great on either side, which I know, shocking for Voldemort, right?
You see it all the time with dogs. If there's something wrong with the
Lorem ipsum.
then there's something wrong with the pup.
But he gets his revenge in the end by hunting down and killing not only his father, but also his grandparents, and then goes as far as framing his uncle for their deaths and using Tom Riddle Sr.'s death to create the first Horcrux, the ring. And yes, the ring does come before the diary. It is said that he killed Tom Riddle Sr. in the summer of his 16th year, which would be when Voldemort is actually 15 years old. Like how during the year that you were born, that would be your first year on Earth, even though you are 0 years old. Does that make sense? Plus, then the diary obviously happens at the end of his 5th year after he opens the Chamber of Secrets and kills Myrtle. But this one, I think, has some hidden lore to it as well, because even though the fact that he killed a Muggle-born with the basilisk is a symbol for how he's the heir of Slytherin, I don't think he meant to kill Myrtle when he did, if he was planning to kill her at all. Because if you recall, Myrtle is hiding in the bathroom when it happens, and Tom doesn't even attack her. She just emerges from the stall to go yell at him for being a boy in the girl's bathroom, and instead finds herself face to face with the basilisk and dies instantly.
And I realized it was a boy speaking, so I unlocked the door to tell him to go away and I died.
Per Tom's cause, it works out pretty well that she was a Muggle born, but if you ask me, this one just sort of fell into his lap. And the smoking gun is the diary itself, which, if you remember, was purchased at a Muggle shop on Vauxhall Road, something Harry finds very peculiar, and honestly, so do I.
Curious. Very curious.
Because let me ask you this. Who do you think is more likely to have a diary purchased at a Muggle shop in this situation? Is it Tom Riddle, known hater of Muggles and anything to do with them? Or 15-year-old girl and Muggle-born Myrtle Warren?
I don't know.
Like the Albanian peasant and the Muggle tramp may be the odd ones out of the victims lineup, but of the objects lineup, it's clearly the diary. Like, Voldemort is trying to erase his past. Why make a Horcrux from a Muggle object? Dumbledore says it's because it proves he's the heir of Slytherin, but I don't know, was there not a better object turned Horcrux for that, like Slytherin's locket? True, Voldemort did not have the locket yet, but he actually did know about it, because when he goes to kill Morphin, Morphin asks him, "Oh, he left her and served her right marrying filth. Robbed us, mind, before she ran off. Where's the locket, eh? Where's Slytherin's locket?" And not for nothing, but personally, I've always thought what Slytherin himself used the locket for was to conceal the secret of how to access the chamber, since you also open the locket with Parselmouth. And if that's true, then it really would have been perfect for the scenario. But you know how it goes. You open the chamber accidentally, you kill a girl, and you need to get rid of the evidence, so you turn her diary into Horcrux. What are you gonna do?
What do I do?
Next up, we have Hufflepuff's cup and Slytherin's locket. But let's start with the cup. Tom Riddle obtains both of these objects from Hepzibah Smith while employed at Borgin and Burke's after he poisons her and then frames the house elf Hokey, which, starting to see a pattern here. Hepzibah's death is then used to turn Hufflepuff's cup into a Horcrux, which may not sound significant. I mean, she's just like a fussy old lady, right? Well, actually, no. "Helga Hufflepuffs, as you very well know, you clever boy," said Hepzibah, leaning forward with a loud creaking of corsets and actually pinching his hollow cheek. "Didn't I tell you I was distantly descended? This has been handed down in the family for years and years. Lovely, isn't it?" And yes, I know what you're thinking. Spot on the money, Hepzibah impersonation, Jay. Well done. But the point is, Hepzibah is descended from Hufflepuff, meaning that her death in the creation of the Horcrux is actually very significant and appropriate for that particular object. But guys, we need to give a quick pause right there to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, HelloFresh. Imagine this. It's Wednesday. You're exhausted. You've already made dinner decisions like 3 times this week, and now you're standing in your kitchen like, "Oh, I can't eat tacos again, but also I feel like I'm probably going to eat tacos again because I've already got the leftovers," and you can put pretty much anything you want on tacos, and I guess I do need to get rid of that jar of pickles. But it happens to all of us, we all fall into the same 4 to 5 meals on repeat, or if you're me, it's the same meal 4 to 5 times on repeat with increasingly weirder taco toppings. Which, don't get me wrong, routine is comforting, but there's also this part of you that's like, what if dinner was interesting again, but like interesting in a good way, not in a I tried raisins on my taco kind of way. But that is why we've been loving HelloFresh at my house, because suddenly you're cooking meals inspired by cuisines from all over the world, but without any of the usual hassle. No hunting down weird ingredients, no scrolling through recipes for an hour. Everything just shows up at your door, pre-portioned, ready to go. Plus, they've got over 80 recipes to choose from every month, so you're not stuck in that same loop of, what do we even make tonight? We love it at my house, and I think you will too. So if you want to break out of your dinner rut, go to hellofresh.com/jversb10fm right now to get 10 free meals, plus a free NutriBullet Ultra Plus 2-in-1 compact kitchen system, which is $189.99 value on your third box. Free meals are applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only, and it varies by plan. And you must order the third box by May 31st, 2026, because at the end of the day, nothing hits like home cooking. But what about the locket, the other item Tom steals from her? This is the first one that feels completely random because apparently the death in question was a Muggle tramp. Like, what would that have to do with anything, Tom? Especially because of all the Horcruxes to get a random Muggle as the victim, it's the Slytherin one? Like, he's the heir of Slytherin. It just feels so un-Voldemort. But good news, I think we might have solved this one, and it starts with Myrtle, Voldemort's mother, stealing the locket in the first place. And if you're sitting there saying you're saying her name wrong, it's Merope or Merope, I'm gonna keep changing it up, and I don't know which one's right, and neither do you. No one knows how to say that name. Although I guess it's not fair to accuse her of stealing the locket. I mean, is it stealing if you're home alone with a family heirloom and your father and brother in Azkaban? I mean, at that point, it's just yours, right?
It's mine.
But honestly, it doesn't matter because she doesn't keep it. Pregnant and down on her luck and abandoned by Tom Riddle Sr., Merope ends up selling her only object of value, the locket, to the very store her son would eventually to go on to work for, Borgin and Burke's. Course, that made the locket near enough priceless. She didn't seem to have any idea how much it was worth. Happened to get 10 galleons for it. Best bargain we ever made. Caractacus Burke, too? Wow, Jay, wow. Yeah, that was Caractacus Burke talking there, one of the founders of the shop and the man who actually made the deal, which even Harry scoffs at, and Dumbledore says of him that he was not famed for his generosity. But here's where things get interesting, because we obviously know Burke was alive when he bought the locket off Merope, and we know he's still alive when Voldemort is working there, because he's the one sending Tom to Hepzibah's in the first place. Mr. Burke would like to make an improved offer for the goblin-made armor, said Voldemort. 500 galleons, he feels, is more than fair. But in present day, Burke is nowhere to be seen. We only ever meet Mr. Borgin anytime we visit the shop, so what gives? And I'm sure you can see where we're going with this, but what if Tom Riddle killed Burke to make the locket Horcrux? I mean, who better than the very man who swindled the locket away from his mother, his pregnant mother at that, from him, in a way, the heir of Slytherin? I mean, it truly is rightfully his.
Give it back, it's mine!
And this man, as good as stole it from his family. But then you might be wondering, why is the lore that Voldemort killed a Muggle tramp? And it's because, like Dumbledore said, he wasn't famed for his generosity, and almost everything about the shop of Borgin and Burke's screams pure-blood elitist. So, what could be a more humiliating fate for a man who took advantage of the homeless Merope than to murder him and frame him as a homeless Muggle? Because I super duper would not put it past Voldemort to just like transfigure his body or something after he killed him, so nobody ever knew what happened to Burke. Because honestly, would anyone even find it odd that the slimy guy who ran a dark artifact shop went mysteriously missing?
I don't think so.
Which brings us to the diadem, the other most mysterious member of Voldemort's significant hit list. An Albanian peasant. What? A really important Albanian peasant, though, probably. Okay, so at face value, it at least seems a little more plausible, as we know that the diadem belonged to Rowena Ravenclaw, and that her daughter, Helena Ravenclaw, stole it and hid it in a tree in an Albanian forest. Then, some 950 years later, Voldemort charms the Grey Lady and gets her to tell him where it is, and he goes and collects it, and is maybe so excited that he found the correct tree in the entire forest, he just kills the first person he can find in Albania and makes a Horcrux. Yay!
No wonder she hasn't got any friends.
Yeah, that's the significance. Like, oh my god, I found the tree. There's no way. It was right. Oh, that's gotta be like the millionth tree I've checked. Holy cow, wow. But see, there's a really weird thing about the Albanian forest history-wise, because 1,000 years ago, Albania was not a country at all like it is today, way over here. But to make matters more interesting, there was still a place called Albania. That place was just Scotland, which suddenly makes more sense when you consider the fact that the girl who hid the diadem grew up with a crown in a castle in Scotland. Ask yourself this. Do you think Miss Haughty Helena Ravenclaw ran away to here or here? Because one feels like it makes a lot more sense, which matters because of the other half of the Grey Lady's story, which is why she ran away in the first place, which was because she was jealous of her mother and wanted to get out of her shadow and prove that she was more intelligent. And we don't know how long she was gone, but it's not until her mother is on her deathbed before the Baron, who always loved her, was sent to find her. And when she refused to return with him, he, killed her! What? Like, bro, I'm no expert, but that is no way to win her over. Like, if you love her, why did you kill her? It don't make no sense. It's seriously baffling. Like, what would cause this? What would make the Baron, who studies directly beneath the tutelage of the pure-blood-loving Salazar Slytherin, kill a girl he loves who wanted to escape her mother's shadow? Well, here's my theory, which is that while she was away, Helena Ravenclaw marries a Muggle, and not just a Muggle, but a commoner Muggle, who she ends up having a child with. I mean, it's a tale as old as time, isn't it? The Lady and the Tramp. See what it did there. But there really is every indication that the Ravenclaws were some sort of nobility. I mean, the title-wearing Baron is interested in her for one thing. She lives in a castle for another, and like I said before, they have a crown. But so imagine the Baron comes calling after loving her his entire life and discovers that she is not only married below her status socially, but magically as well. See, now that would make you mad. Well, I mean, not like you and me. I'm sure you don't care about that, but you know what I mean. That's why he kills her. Of course, at that point, he realizes what he's done and kills himself, meaning that nobody else would know about the man and the child. But obviously, they and their new last name are too afraid to go to Hogwarts for a while until generations later when it's finally safe again, and the heir of Ravenclaw is finally able to return under a new name. Now let's think. Do we know any Scottish Ravenclaws?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Dude, I would super love it if Cho was the heir of Ravenclaw. And look, I know it sounds far-fetched, but if an heir of Hufflepuff was killed for the cup, the theft of Slytherin for Slytherin, and Harry, the son of Gryffindors, was going to be the sword murdered in Godric's Hollow, which, sorry, that's a whole different theory, but you can check this one out here. I almost guarantee you that Voldemort had the sword with him when he was going to kill Harry, and that was going to be the final Horcrux. Then it feels like 950 years later, Voldemort could have found another descendant of Ravenclaw in Albania, because unlike Harry, he's not pressed for time with his interview of the Great Lady, and is significantly more charming as Tom Riddle than Harry, and might have gotten more of the story out of her, because when she's talking to Harry, she's pretty reluctant to tell Harry even the information she does give up. Also, 950 years later, probably more than a single heir, and I think Voldemort could have found any of them and just... Oh, yeah, and I suppose just for the sake of completeness, I should also mention that Voldemort killed Bertha Jorkins to make the Nagini Horcrux, which was really just a creation of convenience. So, there's not much to that one. But there you go, guys. The people that Voldemort killed to make each of his Horcruxes. What do you think about the Muggle Tramp and the Albanian Peasant? Do you think our theories make sense? I would love to hear your thoughts in the towel section down below, especially the Burke one. That one really feels like it has legs. But guys, thanks as always for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment on this video if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Harry Potter action from us. If you want to see how the Sword of Gryffindor was almost definitely the final secret Horcrux, you can check out this video right here. Until next time, don't forget, ducks go in cups. If you want to submit your own duck video, you can just scan the QR code on screen right now.